Lebanon, a country smaller than many Indian states, has for decades remained one of the most volatile fault lines in global geopolitics. Not because war is constant, but because peace is never complete. Here, power is not centralized. It is layered, contested, and often invisible. A fragile political system continues to struggle. A powerful non-state actor operates alongside the state, and along its southern border, one of the most heavily armed standoffs in the world continues to simmer. At the heart of this complexity lies the enduring tension between Israel Defense Forces, IDF, and Hezbollah. A confrontation that is not always in full view, but is always active in calculation. And in between these four stands an international presence, the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, tasked not with winning wars, but with preventing one from breaking out, stays. But what does that really mean on the ground? What does peacekeeping look like in a region where peace itself is fragile and sometimes temporary? And how close is the delicate balance to tipping over into a larger regional conflict? Today's episode is not about headlines. It is about understanding the mechanics of instability through the lens of someone who has not just observed it, but operated within it. Joining me today is Major General Sandeep Bajaj, Ati Visheshta Seva Medal retired, a seasoned infantry officer with over 3 decades of distinguished service in the Indian Army and Makosmet to boot. Commissioned into 2 Rajputana rifles in 1987, he has held a wide spectrum of command and staff appointments across operational environments. As second in command of his battalion during the Kargil War, he was part of the historic operations in Tololing and Three Pimples, battles that remain etched in India's military history. He has commanded a Rashtriya Rifles battalion in counter-insurgency operations, an infantry brigade, and a mountain division, bringing with him deep operational and leadership experience. Beyond national service, General Bajaj has had significant exposure in international peacekeeping too. He has served as a military observer with the United Nations Organization's Stabilization mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and later as the Deputy Force Commander with the UNIFIL, United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. He currently contributes at the global level as chair of the Permanent Ceasefire Committee in Sudan. What makes today's conversation particularly valuable is that he brings not just strategic understanding, but first-hand experience of operating within one of the world's most sensitive conflict zones. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Lebanon sits today at the fault line of global geopolitics, where state power, non-state actors, and international peacekeeping collide. A country smaller than many Indian states is currently balancing internal fragility, external pressure from Israel, and the shadow influence of groups like Hezbollah. But beyond headlines, what does stability actually look like on the ground? To decode this, I'm joined by someone who hasn't just studied conflict, but operated within it. Major General Sandeep Bajaj. Sandy, it's a privilege to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tipsy. My pleasure and honor entirely. I've been following your podcasts. They're exceptional. They cover the complete spectrum of various lives and various times. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Sandy, before we get into the current situation, help us first understand why Lebanon, despite decades of intervention and oversight, continues to remain on the brink.
So, a little background. I've been the Deputy Force Commander of UNIFIL, which is the peacekeeping mission on ground, currently winding up in 2026 December. It was the buffer force between Israel and Lebanon. And now on to your and I've seen Lebanon. It's intrigued me why a country with such a vibrant diaspora and vibrant people who do extremely well outside. You see, all the richest businessman on earth is Michael Slim. He's Lebanese origin in Mexico. And so there are many, many more examples. The Lebanese are extremely enterprising people, but somehow the country stays in eternal conflict and strife. Why? So as you asked me the question, Lebanon's a very small country, It has various fault lines in it, fault lines which actually are very deep, and they run through the society completely. It has almost even minority of Shias, about 30%, Sunnis, about 27, 28%, Maronites and Christians. So long back, they had decided somewhere around in 48 that to keep all interests in mind, they would look at a confessional system, a system in which they would look at giving equal representations to various parts of society. So de facto, it is such position that the prime minister is always, the president will always be a Christian Maronite. The speaker of the parliament, actually the most powerful, would be a Shia. The prime minister would be Sunnis. This is a system which actually kept the country together and also didn't let it progress beyond a point. Lebanon sits with a very deep economic crisis. It has been festering over the years. In fact, the World Bank in 2019 had put it as one of the world's worst. It has a refugee problem which actually caused this complete problem. The Palestinians once, they left so-called Palestine or Israel and took refuge in Jordan and Lebanon. Proportionately, population-wise and country area-wise, Lebanon is the biggest host. It has almost about 500,000 now in a population of around 6 million. Earlier, it was more. Quite a few people have moved out. Apart from that, in certain ways, Lebanon became a client state to, let's say, Iran, because Shias are Hezbollahs, and I'll touch upon that later. Also, economic crisis, also violence, endless wars. They fought on the Arab side, the smallest state which fought against Israel, and they have suffered repeatedly because they hold a very strategic northern front, or the south of the Litani River of Lebanon is actually the northern front of Israel. Israel, being a very small country, is
Right.
extremely sensitive to any pinpricks coming in from the Lebanese side.
Now, in your opinion, is Lebanon a failed state or a deliberately balanced instability?
That's a very interesting question. You see, Lebanon exists, but it cannot continue to exist like this. Its economy is in tatters. Its security is in tatters. Unfortunately for it, Syria has imploded onto the western side.
Right.
Eastern side. Syria has imploded. The southern borders with Israel are deeply contested. There are, refugee issues coming in from the Syrians coming into Lebanon, then trying to move on to Europe, and there are security issues which you are well aware of. Also, if you go into the current ceasefire talks that are happening in Islamabad, one of the most contentious issues was the ceasefire in Lebanon by Israel. So this is how strategically important Lebanon is. And I don't see any future, unless they sort out this security issue. So it's neither a successful state and neither is it failed as yet.
Right. Okay. Now, from a military standpoint, how close is the Israel-Hezbollah situation to a full-scale war?
As you asked it on a military term, I'll just take you on to a little background. Iran had very successfully put across threats in being onto the borders of Israel. The Hezbollah, which actually is a part of the axis of resistance, is a threat in being almost controlled by Iran, which was kept that in case something goes wrong, let's say Israel hits the nuclear reactors as they've done now, then Hezbollah would fire its rocket force onto Lebanon. So along with that, it also looked into Syria and Hamas. Now Hamas and Hezbollah together are certain pinpricks which will not allow Israel to have its security situation ever balanced unless they eradicate it. So I would say from the Israeli viewpoint, it is an all-out war from them, which is now they have occupied parts of southern Lebanon, and also they have got Gaza in control. But now the exit strategy is what counts, because to exit it in a way that will guarantee them security henceforth is not a very easy thing for them to happen. There are reasons for that. In case you'd like me to touch upon.
All right.
The Lebanese army as such, or the Lebanese state as such, does not have the capacity to actually control the south of Lebanon and eradicate it of Hezbollah. As it is, Hezbollah, as part of its government, is its largest party in a way. They dominate it. So till Hezbollah is there, the Lebanese army has actually no wherewithal to eradicate them from the south of Lebanon. That being said, Israel itself, this is the main pinprick to Israel. Unless this is sorted out, they'll not move out. Back to you, Tipsy.
Okay. All right. Okay. Given your rich experience in UNIFIL and thereafter your, tireless work with the UN headquarters, is UNIFIL a stabilizing force in the region or just a buffer buying time?
Initially, when it was set up under the Resolution 1701, post the 34-day war, when it upscaled, it did get a lot of stability. But like I mentioned, Lebanon itself, there's a caveat in the mandate that UNIFIL will operate with the Lebanese army, Lebanese armed forces, LAF as they're called, to eradicate the threat from south of the Litani River, which is where the Hezbollah is hitting Israel from. Now, they were able to keep it in control for a long period of time. So I would say it stabilized Lebanon to a level now, or it would have been possibly a failed state earlier. Or it would have been, I shouldn't be calling Lebanon a failed state, but it would have been a very fragile security situation earlier. But now, with Israel not cooperating, the Lebanese army, the Lebanese government not having the wherewithal, UNIFIL effectiveness is becoming questionable, and hence the Security Council has actually said that now it is time to call off this mission, and 31st of December this year it closes. But the point is, thereafter what?
Yeah.
You see, Israel has already occupied South Lebanon once. They left with the UNIFIL coming in, the interim force in Lebanon coming in, the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon coming in. It held peace for 20 years. If it moves out now, neither has the Lebanese army the capacity, nor the Israelis the capacity to eradicate Hezbollah, extremely resilient organization. So what happens now? So I leave this as an open-ended question. The UN may not have performed up to its mark, but what are the alternatives? We are all members. We are all at fault to effectiveness of the UN because we put various caveats on it. Back to you, Tipsy.
Right. All right. Now, delving deeper into your engagement in UNIFIL, what are the rules of engagement when both sides violate norms?
See, there are mechanisms. Rules of engagements are, that the UNIFIL moves on with the Lebanese army in support of the Lebanese army to stop the threats emanating. But there are mechanisms before that. I used to head one of these, the tripartite mechanism. In a very picturesque place along the Mediterranean Sea,
right,
there is an outpost, a company post by the Italian ITBAT, it's called, at bang on the Israeli-Lebanese border. Now, there is a mechanism which meets once a month, the tripartite mechanism. The Israelis come from the Israeli side, the Lebanese come along this thing, and the UN goes in. We have our points which are given to us earlier. We discuss the issues, concerns of the Israeli side, and the issues and concerns of the Lebanese side. And then we see what we are able to resolve. So mechanisms exist, then blue line monitoring, and basically the mechanisms are onto the Lebanese side. Where Lebanon, where it really is not so effective, I would say, is when the Lebanese armed forces, which are not equipped or do not have the capacity, are not able to actually take out the Hezbollah launch sites, missile launch sites, or the anti-tank establishments along that side. Whether they operate with the UN with full force or no, it doesn't happen. There are many caveats from many of the member states of UNIFIL. Back to you.
Okay. Now, tell us a little bit more about peacekeeping. What does peacekeeping really mean in such a situation when there is absolutely no peace?
Peacekeeping brings hope. It brings stability. You see, after all, once peacekeeping forces go in, there is some stability. It gives a platform for discussion. It gives a platform for resolution. And it gives a platform for international pressures onto both sides. For example, the various war crimes or the so-called war crimes coming in from both the sides are highlighted in the Security Council, and they're taken note of. That if a children's school has been hit, or journalists have been targeted, or hospitals have been targeted, these are highlighted. And these have repercussions at a very large international level for a very long period of time. Like one of the issues Israel does face is, international condemnation of its actions along this side. While if you look at it from the Israeli side, the Hezbollah actually has been pinpricking them for a long time on a daily basis. They cannot stay like this because they had evacuated almost 300,000 people down towards Tel Aviv. Israel is a very small country. For the rocket launches that were coming in from southern Lebanon. So actually, there are two sides to a coin. We have to see it equally. And the UN does provide a platform where they can meet, we can investigate, we can legislate, we can negotiate, mediate, and get it back to that level. That's the job I was doing. Back to you.
Right. Okay. Before we move on to the next question, Sandeep, please tell us a little bit more about Golan Heights and its relevance towards the ongoing conflict and the struggle.
Excellent. See, Golan Heights are very, very strategic heights. Also, not much talked about. Israel is a water scarce country. In fact, all of this area is. If you see the Jordan River, which is much talked about, biblical and this thing. I had gone to the Jordan River. Actually, it doesn't compare to any rivers that we have in India or across the world. It's small. It's a water scarce region. Now, one of the catchment areas for water is the Golan Heights. More than that, it's a strategic ground. As you go onto the Golan, as you drive onto the Golan, and you look at that, you can see the lights of Damascus about 35 kilometers in. These days, with modern artillery and all, in case you take the site, you can actually dominate Damascus. Also, it gives you the highest point along Lebanon, southern Lebanon, which is a very, very big strategic advantage. Both sides, from observation, from rolling down, from retreating into various guerrilla ambushes coming. So Golan is extremely strategic. Now, with the situation that has prevailed in Syria, this is an very interesting part of the world, and the dynamics that have led to all this Syria falling, and why did Syria fall, are extremely interesting discussions. So Golan is extremely strategic to Israel from the military viewpoint, also from the water scarcity viewpoint. I think that runoff leads into the Sea of Galilee. it comes in there, and all of this is quite a big thing in Israel. Back to you.
Right, right. All right. Sandy, if I collect my general knowledge together, about 2 years back, the Prime Minister of Lebanon was murdered or assassinated. And thereafter, it has led to a lot of intensification and a lot of parties actually, staking claim to power. Which are the various factions which are actually, operative there today, which are staking their active claim to power? And who actually decides today, in today's Lebanon, as to whether Lebanon goes to war or not?
A super question. You see, Saad Hariri was assassinated. The investigations are ongoing. The results of the investigation, in case they do come up, could actually again blow up the country. They're ongoing. Some are out, some are yet to come out. Lebanon has a very, very it would be non-functional to say so. Sense of governance, almost no governance. They just manage day-to-day issues, but long-term issues they don't manage. Now, what are the long-term issues that they should be managing? Firstly, it is fiscal security. It's not there, and Lebanon is rich. If you see the Mediterranean Sea from where Lebanon is on the Mediterranean Sea, right along the coastline, Beirut, and right down to Nakura. There are blocks of oil for exploration, block 4, 5, 6, and 9, which leads on to the Israeli border. These are extremely rich oil and gas-bearing fields. There are exploration contracts, I think, given to companies like Total, Eni, Qatar Gas. Now, they are not able to get this act together to start taking out this oil and gas and giving it out because of internal who gets the contract, who does this. So if this comes in, Lebanon on its own will start becoming stronger. By becoming stronger, it'll have more capacity to govern and to control the security in the country. Now, this is another issue. There is no capacity to govern the Hezbollah. Even with the Israeli strikes taking out Nasrallah post 7 October, they've taken them out. They've done the pager attack. They've taken out the command and control. Yet the Hezbollah is able to put in a fight, and Israel also knows, because they've been there earlier, that in the long run, this is what actually gave rise to the Hezbollah. In the long run, again, they'll keep taking pinpricks, 1,000 cuts, as they say, and finally they'll withdraw back. So Lebanon is actually not controlled, maybe by design.
Right.
For example, Iran is a major benefactor towards the Hezbollah, and it is Shia, Hezbollah is Shia. So they have a lot of influence there. Now, in their interest, they would like the security situation and the Hezbollah to be as strong down south. But the Maronites the Christians don't want it. But that is the problem within the country. They cannot come to a single decision. For example, when I was there, the garbage was not picked up in a beautiful city like Beirut and all along the coastal highway where we used to drive and from. For almost a year and a half, there was a crisis. Finally, that came through. The speaker has been there for, I think, 30. Nabi Berri was there for about 25 years. And, Prime Minister could not be elected. So there are many issues there. The current president of Lebanon is a good acquaintance of mine. We were good friends earlier because both of us were brigadiers together in Lebanon. Okay. Michael Long. So he was commanding a brigade there, and I was the deputy force commander. We used to meet very respectfully with each other. And because he, in the confessional system, it has to be that the chief of the army has to be Christian. He was elevated from a brigadier right up to the top job in a very short period of time. And now he's the president. You see, these systems are a kind of a reservation there, which actually do not lead to the best governance. Though Lebanon has many other fractured fault lines, they have neighbors like Syria coming in, refugee crisis, Israel on the southern borders. They have many issues. Back to you, Tips.
Okay. All right. We come to the last question now, Sandy. And in this question, I would implore you to do a little bit of crystal ball gazing. If you were advising global leadership today, what would be your biggest concern about Lebanon?
It would be in case Lebanon fractures, an already fragile Middle East will fracture further. And this will lead to more wars, more instability, more insurgency, and more refugees moving. As it is, Syria has no place to be in now. Jordan, the Palestinians, and the Syrians itself, and the other people itself, moving en masse towards Europe through Cyprus. It would fracture an already fragile region.
Okay.
It needs to be stabilized.
All right. Now, if there is any strong message that you would like to leave the audience with today, Sandy, what would that be?
That Lebanon is actually a pivot for security of the Middle East. Israel has, tried. See, they have also been attacked. If you see 7th October, they've been attacked. And Iran has been supporting Hezbollah with about $300 million a year and Hamas with more to keep them as threats on being on the Israeli side. We need to ensure that Lebanon is stabilized and we help Israel withdraw from Lebanon earliest, allow the people of Gaza and Lebanon to rebuild their lives with more economic prospects and less influence coming in from actors which wanted to actually sacrifice its future and continue fighting a cause while they sit far away. So we need to stabilize Lebanon. We need to stabilize southern Lebanon. We need to stabilize Gaza. This will bring lasting peace, not 2-3 years down the line, but 15 to 20 years down the line when the economic profile of the country takes on, and Gaza becomes vibrant, and Lebanon is able to again, with such dynamic minds and businessmen and personalities, is able to again function to its true potential. It would be great. Just a matter of thing. I'll take a second. I've traveled extensively in Africa. Courtesy the UN jobs that I've had. Wherever I've gone, the Lebanese have established businesses, small, big, even bigger, and they have done extremely well. They have from car dealerships to you name it, anything. The Lebanese are such enterprising people that we need to stabilize this country and get it back to being strong. With this, the other stability will come in. Also, we need to address definitely the security challenges that emanate from a weak security structure in Lebanon due to state capacity, and also Gaza I will not touch upon. But this is actually that. Back to you, Tipsy.
Sandy, one last question. I think I will not be doing justice to the subject of Lebanon if I do not, ask you about the current linkage of Lebanon in the ongoing crisis in the Midwest. That is Iran making Lebanon a prerequisite for any peace talks with the US. So can you please, in 2-3 minutes, very briefly, tell us about this entire embroglio which is there, and why is Lebanon so essential to Iran when it comes to making a deal with US?
Correct. It'll take maybe 4 minutes. You see, Iran has been under sanctions. It does not have the air power, air defense required in the modern day strategic interest. But they're looking at that's what the Americans have been doing at enriching their uranium to come to some kind of a tipping portion that they can come towards the nuclear bomb. Israelis, and they've been making also threats and been saying that look, we will wipe out Israel. Also, they've been saying this. Now they've also attacked in Beirut about 30 years, 40 years back. 240 American Marines and about 70 French soldiers died in a orchestrated attack by the Iranians. So there's a lot of history and bad blood here. Now, Iran wants to be certain that it cannot be hit. I'm talking as a military guy. What has Iran done? It had made a kind of a threat in being onto the northern border of Israel by an axis of resistance, by a portion of the axis of resistance, which is the Hezbollah. They had placed it there, armed it through the crescent, which that's why Syria also went. That is why the Israelis went for Syria, and they got it all into Lebanon. They kept arming southern Lebanon missile launch sites to an extreme thing. So the threat was that in case something happens, in case Israel tries a misadventure, then Hezbollah will fire its complete rocket force onto northern Israel, which is nothing less than a nuclear bomb. It's a very strong missile arsenal that southern Lebanon has. Similarly, they funded the Hamas. Hamas was under more control and scrutiny of weapons and arms shipments going into the territory. But money came in. They fueled the terrorist underground tunnels and all as are coming out. They tried to do the same in Syria. Syria is an Alawite country. Is a country. Assad was Alawite, but overall it is Sunni. So they were able to get the Syrians to support them also, especially in transit and through. If you see historically, Israel has been using their fighter aircraft to strike into Syria for eons. Any flights coming in, they used to strike. So road moves and whatnot. Now with all of this, Iran could do what it could do because it had three major threats onto the Israeli border. Actually, Israel is a very small country too. So by taking out Lebanon is equivalent of taking out your most strategic hold over Iran. That is the Hezbollah from Lebanon is the most strategic hold over Pakistan. This is the reason why Israel is saying that we don't care about the ceasefire. We will continue to hit you in Lebanon and decimate the southern Lebanon and decimate whatever we can of Hezbollah's launch sites, command control structures, pages, the leadership which they've done. So if Iran agrees that the ceasefire will not extend to Lebanon and Israel will continue to hit Lebanon, then it has lost its last major strategic hold, something like the Straits of Hormuz, or the Bab al-Mandab, where the Houthis are yet to come into action. So all of this is a very big calculus from the Israeli point, from the Iranian point of view. From the American point of view, Straits of Hormuz is more important than southern Lebanon. Lebanon, it's okay, fine. It's not really affecting us, but we want to open the Straits of Hormuz as priority one. For Israel, priority one is also the Hezbollah being decimated. Hamas is almost finished in capacity. Hezbollah still is very resilient, has capacity to launch pinpricks, not at the earlier rocket launches and whatnot that they threatened to do, but they can continue to do pinpricks all this time. That is why the first operation of Israel was to take out Gaza because they had the hostages there. Second was to take out Nasrallah in Beirut, and then to break up the command and control structure through the pages of Hezbollah, in which they killed about 40 main leaders and about 2,000 injured, and thereafter orchestrate in a way the fall of Assad in Syria. Which then, because Assad, there were a lot of people against Assad in Syria because he was, a very brutal dictator. So with all of this happening, Israel has now secured its border in a very systematic manner in which they've eliminated immediate threats. Now they want to eliminate the one threat which can continue to trouble them, which is the Hezbollah. So in a larger gamut, America looks at its interest along with Israel, but Israel looks at its major interest that unless the southern border of Lebanon, their northern border of Israel, is totally secured and eradicated of Hezbollah, they have actually not achieved what they wanted. Back to you.
Right. Thank you very much. That was very enlightening, Sandy, and you give it out from your heart, from your very basic experience that you've had over all these years, serving in various appointments in the UN, and currently also you are in a very vital position in the UN. This brings me to a quick rapid fire round, which I call Tipsy's 5. I'm going to be asking you 5 quick, sharp questions, and I expect very short, brief, and quick replies. Are we ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, the first one coming your way. One word for Hezbollah.
Resilient.
Okay. Second one, UN peacekeeping in conflict zone, in your opinion, is idealistic, necessary, or ineffective?
Necessary.
All right. Next question, what is Israel's biggest fear today?
Regional instability, which will continue to not allow Israel to sit in peace.
Okay. In your opinion, where do you see Lebanon in the next 5 years? As a stable state, the same as today, or possibly worse than what it is today?
Will get better because the hold of Hezbollah might have been weakened significantly, and the Lebanese army and the Lebanese nation government is taking steps to make it stronger.
Right. One last one coming your way, Sandy. One misconception civilians have about war zones.
That it will finish early. It'll not. Like I was in Sudan too, where we evacuated from Darfur just the last year. We felt that seeing the capacity of the various warring groups and all, that it might finish at a certain period of time. But somebody told me, he says, wars in Sudan and in Africa are long. It'll take 30 years, 40 years. Misconception is it'll finish early. No, these wars will continue. We need people to actually, take it more seriously to stop it on various humanitarian grounds and security grounds. Back to you.
Right. Thank you. In the end, Lebanon reminds us that conflict isn't always about war. It's about balance, perception, and power that operates in the shadows. And sometimes peace isn't the absence of conflict. It is the management of it. Bajaj, thank you so very much for bringing such clarity, depth, and grounded perspective to a subject that is often misunderstood. Your insights, drawn not just from study but also from experience on the ground, have helped us go beyond the noise and truly understand the realities of conflict and peacekeeping. It's been an absolute privilege having you with us here, Sandy. Thank you so very much for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure entirely, Tipsy. My pleasure, and may you grow from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I had to take out 3 key takeaways from today's discussion, they would be: number 1, Lebanon's instability is structural, not incidental. It is shaped by its history, its sectarian framework, and the presence of powerful non-state actors like Hezbollah. Number 2, the real flashpoint is Israel-Hezbollah, not just broader narratives. While groups like Hamas dominate headlines elsewhere, the Northern Front presents a far more complex and potentially escalatory dynamic involving Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, and Hezbollah. And number 3, peacekeeping is about control, not resolution. For missions like UNIFIL, success is not measured by victory, but by preventing escalation and maintaining a fragile equilibrium. As we close today's conversation, one thing becomes very clear. Lebanon is not a story of war alone. It's a story of constant negotiation between conflict and control. A nation where sovereignty is shared, influence is layered, and stability is not achieved but managed. We often look at geopolitics through headlines, missiles, strikes, escalations. But what today's discussion has highlighted is something far more nuanced. That between war and peace lies a vast grey zone, where decisions are cautious, actions are calibrated, and the cost of miscalculation is immense. The role of forces like the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, is not to end conflict overnight, but to hold the line long enough for diplomacy to have a chance. And perhaps that's the most important insight, that in regions like Lebanon, peace is not an outcome, it's an ongoing effort. If this conversation gave you a deeper perspective, do share it, because understanding geopolitics today is no longer optional, it's essential. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and most importantly, stay thoughtful. Jai Hind.